Hello, and welcome to Divisive Issues, the foul-mouthed, spoiler-filled comic book podcast where two fans and two non-fans talk about controversial and noteworthy comics and comic book history. I'm Ryan.
I'm Sly.
I'm Phil.
And I'm Darryl. And before we begin...
we let Darryl pick the
book. Wait. Ryan dropped this nugget of knowledge on me that has enlightened me beyond like all my years of being on this podcast. I was blown away. It's unfortunate we weren't recording this. He said DC stands for Detective Comics.
Yeah.
True story.
Did you know this, viewers? Rate, subscribe, like.
Yeah, this is the sequel to our last Robin issue where we were like, Detective Comics is bored. What is this? The ultimate twist. It is the company.
So, why talk about DC when you could talk about DH too,
Ooh.
right, Darryl?
Yeah, Death's Head 2, not the first one.
He's very extreme, and when I say that, I mean X.
Yeah.
Hyphen tree.
Like Adam X.
Yeah, so this is going to be a crossover with Death's Head and the X-Men, which is what...
Oh, yeah. There's X-Men in this, too. So it's the best of all worlds. I get Death's Head, Phil gets X-Men.
This is basically an X-Men story, not a Death Head story. You know.
Yeah. Ryan gets all the cheesecake he loves in comics.
So, okay, if you remember, we did a Death's Head 2 episode a long time ago, and if you want more backstory of this character, go listen to that. And if you don't remember anything about it, you're just like me, so that's fine.
Just a quick note. When we did the episode, I read the story arc we're doing now and that story arc. Darryl never read that story arc, so he was like.
I did read that story arc. This was my favorite though.
Which blows my fucking mind because I was like, that is objectively better in every way, like art, storytelling, character work. Wow. So that told me a lot about Darryl's tastes in comics.
This book has a lot of good butts in it.
Yeah. So
that is. I was gonna say that's probably the best part.
That's the only hypothesis I ever understand. This book has a lot of TNA, as Darryl put it, and that was probably why Darryl loved it so much as a kid.
So we're doing the.
Yeah, when we say kid, what age are we talking about here?
I must have been like 6 or 8 when I was like reading this.
Oh, that's pretty
not
young.
7 though.
Yeah, it wasn't. See, here's the thing. It wasn't the TNA I was so much interested in, but like giant badass looking dudes. And this book is full of it. And also, when I was a kid, I didn't read. Like, I didn't care to read it because it was so wordy. As Sly knows, I hate words on comics. And so I never read it. I just looked at the drawings.
Everything comes full circle.
Darryl, it's so hard to make fun of you because you're so dumb already. And you just are like, this is the way I am. How do I make fun of someone who's so honest about that?
You don't.
So
I win.
We're doing the Death's Head 2 ongoing, I guess this is, like the early 90s or whatever?
I just want to say, like, it's funny, like, I read 60s comics when I was a kid, and I loved it because I loved all the character work and the plot, and they all made me feel bad, saying, oh, it's not using the medium fully well, because, you know, there's not enough action being displayed with the art, and I was like, yeah, you're right, you're making all these social arguments, then he's like, no, it was all because I didn't read as a child, so that's why I made that fucking statement.
So, we're doing the first 4 issues by Dan Abnett and
This
Liam
is
Sharp.
1992, it's volume 2, it's the second run. Whereas what we first covered was volume 1, 4 issues.
But it was his first ongoing series. His first.
Yeah.
It lasted 16 issues.
Yeah, and it went downhill like immediately after this one. Like this series has so many fucking times. It starts as a sequel to a tie-in. Something happened between this issue and the last one where they found the fucking Sapphire Lotus, which is like this MacGuffin that can change reality.
Yeah.
So I just want to start with the cover. Oh, it's so excellent. It's one of those fold-out covers, so it's like
Isn't
3
it?
covers wide.
Yeah.
And it's got Death's Head 2, which if you remember is just this big buff robot-looking guy with like a skull face.
He's got red dreadlocks. He's solid blue. He has one arm that transforms into like anything he wants it to be. He's a robot, but he has like a skeleton face, so he kind of looks like an alien too. And he's immortal, and no one can beat him. I love him.
And he's got like 1,000 personalities in his head.
Yep.
And he's holding an unconscious Rogue. Gambit's on the ground. You have Wolverine bearing his claws, and he's covered in war paint. Death's Head 2's getting
That's
hit
not war
with
paint, just a miscolorization. There's a lot of miscolorization in this comic. I'll point them out as we get there.
Cyclops is hitting Death's Head with an optic blast.
That Death's Head doesn't even care about. He's like, well, whatever.
There's some guy with a sword for a hand wearing a poncho.
Johnny Storm is flying, but he's green.
Yeah.
This is by the way, Darryl keeps saying we should do more 90s comics, do more Rob Liefeld. This embodies everything that's shitty about 90s comics.
It's everything that's good about 90s comics, let's be honest. And there's also like a half-naked woman who's using her levitation powers to make a chair float around.
When I say that, it's like literally
super
like,
good.
here's new characters. Kite, his power is he has a sword for a knife.
Yeah.
A sword for a hand.
Here's another girl.
Sword for a knife.
Here's Green's Giant Storm's sidekick, a woman with claw fingers, like fucking Lady Deathstrike. Wait, great characters. Wonder why these guys
when
didn't catch on.
Sly's talking about how this embodies the 90s, it really does, because like
Yeah,
a lot
it
of
really
story
does.
parts don't matter. Everything's like loosely tied together. It's like overly quippy. There's 100 new characters. Everyone looks like crazy and buff. There's not like all the body types are the same. Rogue's body type is the same as this lady's body type, who's the same as Tuck, who's the same as this alien lady later
It looks
on.
kind of like pulpy, like pulp
Pinups.
novel covers. Yeah, where they're just like the ladies are just really their
Ladies.
figure is
Buxom.
very.
They got
yeah,
curves.
Yeah, very accentuated.
Yeah, and the plot is basically one extended fight scene. There's only like a panel or two to connect the fight scenes, but it's really just one large fight scene that just gets briefly broken up by a panel or two to connect the next fight.
This book is written for kids that don't want to read. It's for Darryl.
That's my official stamp on this.
And I also love how Ryan mentioned that he has like 1,000 personalities in his head. This is supposed to explain his why he's such a good fighter, because he has like all these fighters like in his mind. But the only one that ever comes out is this like 90s edgelord. Like out of all the personalities that are in there, he really is just like a quippy one-liner asshole.
Well, it's kind of
that's
like how everyone does like a character that's like 1,000 years old, and then they're always just like a solemn, sullen asshole, or they're edgy too, where they're like, yeah, whatever, man.
And so when I said the artist did like a step down, for one, it's a lot rougher. It's trying to be more like Jim Lee in this one. I like kind of just like some of the softer feeling to Liam Sharp's pencils in the miniseries. Also, there's a lot of laziness. Like the first 3 panels in this comics are all copy and pasted pictures of this bar in Paxton, Oregon.
where all adventure stories start, Paxton, Oregon.
Yep. And so inside of this, you get Dan Abnett's the writer, and he's like, Paxton has a population of 703, and it's like everything's like peaceful. It's one of the quietest urban areas in the world. And then you see Crash, and Death's Head just punches a guy and saying, give me a break.
No, and it says it's one of the quietest urban areas in the world. Next panel, not.
Yeah, and
I love that.
the guy's punching his guy I mentioned before with his sword hand. His name is Kite. His powers literally has his sword hand. That's all he does. He should be now.
Spoilers, that's Charnel.
That's so fucking stupid! Oh my god.
Oh, that's why he is a person of interest later.
Yeah, because remember at the very end of Death's Head 1, Charnel, the guy that beat literally everyone in the entire world except the Punisher, who was the last person left
He's a
fighting him.
mutant!
So what happens is Charnel splits into 2 bodies, and one goes to the end of time, and the other goes to Paxton, Oregon, I guess.
I don't remember any of this. Is this
don't
what it's
either.
like to be Phil on this podcast?
No, because I still don't remember anything. I guess it is like
So this guy was Baron Strucker, the Nick Fury's fucking enemy. He becomes half a robot, and then he becomes a mutant. Like, this makes fucking sense. This is quality writing.
So that's already man, we're 2 pages in. Anyway, he's fighting this guy, and we get like a lot of good, like, just these guys being dicks to each other. Death's Head's like, just what's your problem, bozo? And he's like, not bozo. Apart from personal freshness, let's say.
Some of these quips are so good.
Yeah.
Death's Head is like, words once again have failed me, it seems. And he goes, ugh, and he punches them. Thanks, words. What's that?
And while they're fighting the sheriff, and they're like, there's 2 fucking like monsters fighting in the bar, and they're like, another day in town, huh, sheriff? Huh, yuck, yuck.
well, they're like we know about superheroes, and I guess eventually they were gonna come to our town.
But everyone's like casual. Like the bartender's like Death's Head goes to the bartender after the fight, and he's like, "Oh, the sound sure attracts a lot of freaks, huh?" And the bartender says, "You found your way around here without a map." And they're like,
yeah,
ha, ha, ha.
I love that. That made me laugh. He's polishing a glass, and he's just like, yeah, whatever. Alien robot man.
And the narrative keeps like, this is a boring fucking town, and everyone's like blasé. Oh, fucking monsters, whatever.
Well, it's because they're too cool. They're too cool to care.
So the fight goes outside as they go out the window, and then this is what Sly was alluding to. There's all these like freaks and monsters, and they have people like this one really tall guy with a huge beard that is like has claws and is all like blue and green.
Yeah.
It's like Al Moore if he became the Hulk.
There's a couple like
Alan
bug
Moore's man
people.
thing.
There's a guy that looks like Beast if he wasn't blue. There's like this green alien guy, and then there's just a woman in a tube top.
Yeah, with her boyfriend in a tank top.
Tube tops don't have shoulders, you idiot.
Sorry.
It's a crop top. All right?
It's a belly shirt. What the fuck it's called?
Okay, that's not just a belly shirt. That has her whole like it's.
It
I
goes
think a
really
crop top
high
is
up.
the way-
So Deathhead beats Kite, and Kite gets like knocked out, and he goes back in the bar, and that's when the bartender makes a quip. And then this guy comes in, and he is Wrathchild, Scourge of the Dark, Nemesis of the world, Leviathan. And then as he's talking to Deathhead, he walks into like a pole, like a pillar in the middle of the room,
I
and knocks
laughed at
himself
this.
out.
Yeah, that was actually a decent joke. You can see that's
Yep.
one of the few signs that this guy wrote Guardians of the Galaxy later on.
I think some of his jokes are actually pretty good. Like I laughed consistently throughout this.
Did you?
The jokes are decent. I mean, stylistically, that's like the panels are arranged. Like it's not just dialogue; the panels are actually arranged.
Yeah,
in a
yeah.
jokey style.
Okay, that's fair.
When he knocks himself out, Deathhead quips, "Hope the lifestyle comes together soon, bub." And then he goes in to see Tuck in the restroom. Tuck is his hot female
okay. I'm
partner.
sorry.
What?
It's a half full page of him peeking in on Tuck, and he goes, "Honey, I'm homicidal."
Yeah.
And even as a kid, I never fucking got. I don't know if I talked about this in the last episode. I didn't fucking watch it. I don't give a shit.
No, we did.
I never got Tuck. Like, what the fuck is her? Like, the doctor from the miniseries is Alicia character. She was like a scientist who like
Yeah.
did stuff. Like, Tuck is just here to just get brainwashed, essentially.
Yeah. We talked about it in the first series where I was like, she is just like 100% completely useless. But here, there's at least like something interesting going on with her where there's this Sapphire Lotus, which was like, they got this from the Warheads issue that this links to. I tried reading that issue, and that had, I think, like 4 or 5 plots going on at the same
And
time.
all the, eventually, we'll do a Marvel UK event, but probably to try to show like what we were dealing with in terms of Marvel UK, because every single thing tied into every fucking thing. And
Yeah.
you can't, after this, the next issue is a time to another event. I believe the issue after that's a time to another event.
Yeah, it was so confusing. And Deathhead and Tuck just appear there, and they're like, "Hey, we came to get this main character's gun back for like whoever our client is." They didn't say, and there was no tie-in issue for that. And then they're like, "Oh, that Sapphire Lotus thing that you guys are trying to get looks expensive, so let's get this instead." And that's all the tie-in was for, is that they wanted to pick up this thing, and we didn't even know what it was. And now apparently it's giving Tuck psychic powers?
Yeah, Tuck was like a fucking rogue from medieval times, and now she can levitate things in her fucking bathroom. And this one I joke like where Death says like, I don't act like I don't see what you're doing with my liquor because I don't like it, which I thought was kind of funny.
She's
I remember reading a book with Tuck as a kid where she, like, her and her family are in the woods and they drink from this spring and it makes them live forever. Did you ever read that, Sly?
What?
Is that
You don't know? You guys don't know Tuck Everlasting?
I never saw it. Wait, did I? Sorry, did you make me watch that?
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
You made me watch something.
It's a stupid movie joke. That's
It's a book that I read in like middle school.
anyway.
Whatever. You uncultured swine haven't read Tuck Everlasting.
It sounds familiar, but I don't. If I knew like 5% more, I could laugh at it. But I don't.
So as this is going, it cuts back to the gifted youngster school for
X-Men.
No, it cuts the first time. Get your fucking plot right. Because especially Jean Grey's here and Klaus is here, but they don't show up in the actual rest of the comic. I don't know why they're here. It turns out they're detecting. Lotus
Is Jean Grey here?
Yeah.
Oh, is that her?
Yeah.
I just thought that was Rogue.
No, Rogue's in the danger room showing off her ass. Literally. When we say TNA, so like
They both have yellow and green suits.
yeah, they miscalled her. Like I said, they're fucking like.
This Jean Grey page is really just like, look at my butt.
No,
You mean Rogue,
That's
Ryan?
Rogue.
Wait,
It's
but
easy
she
to
has
get
red
them
hair.
confused.
I told you, fucking art is so fucking.
That's gotta be Rogue.
So okay. So then that.
But then
is
what
Rogue.
power is she using? Because that could be Jean Grey's psychic pink
No,
stuff.
the first one is Jean Grey. The one showing her ass in the last panel is Rogue.
No, I think they're both Rogue.
No, that's Jean Grey because it's the Jean Grey Jubilee suit, but they miscolored the fucking.
Yeah, and do you see like they're outside? They're watching them in the danger room. None of those people appear.
So,
yeah.
Man.
yeah, so Rogue is showing out. She looks at the camera and she's bending over the danger room console, basically showing off her ass. Like,
And she says, "I'll squirt."
and Cyclops and Beast. Cyclops' look as basically says, "Don't know if want," and Beast has the look of "Do want," basically.
This whole comic is very like male gaze. Like you could show this in like a feminist course and be like, "This is what we're talking about." When it's like the way in which you frame women can be suggestive.
It is
Could
literally
be
though the only
suggested.
the only salvageable part of this comic.
This is the most that I've ever seen in like a mainstream comic though. Like,
Yeah.
like people talk about it like Rob Liefeld. Rob Liefeld's never this blatant. Like this is
No,
really
this
blatant.
is really bad.
Yeah.
It really is just like they're just trying to show off ladies, and I know I'm making that joke that it's the only good part, but it's like the rest of this, like the plot makes no sense ever. The action is completely impossible to follow. There's there's nothing good about it, but at least you're like, yeah, I guess Frog's hot. That's a nice ass.
The TNA in this issue is like the only thing they attempt to do, and then like you can tell what they're going for.
The strategies are basically at this time in comics or Marvel UK, show a lot of ass, have a lot of crossovers, and that's basically it.
God, Darryl.
So basically the X-Men are like, hey, we're picking up this energy signal from the Sapphire Lotus, so we have to go investigate. So
We don't know what it is, but they're like Oregon is having.
It's actually attracting all mutants nearby, which is how we know Kite's a mutant and not fucking Charno.
Oh, right, because the Sapphire Lotus is actually summoning mutants to it, because
Yeah.
it cuts back to Death's Head, who's now fighting more people, because he's like, I guess he just fights people.
And then the woman in the crop top unveils her powers, which is just she has like pointy fingers, and
That's how it rips her shirt.
It rips her crop top a little more. Like what?
Not a little more, a lot more, to where her
There's
breasts are
barely
just like
any
hanging
to
out.
begin with.
And then her boyfriend turns into the green fire guy.
Yeah. Also, this is so 90s. All the music mentioned before, like the Alan Moore Hulk and shit like that. That's that two pieces should have in like a page.
Yeah, they're
And he's like,
gone.
get the fuck out of here. And they're like, we can take this guy. Like they just saw it. Devastated murder all these people and fucking.
Well, it's because they were ugly, and these two the hot guy and the hot girl, are just like we're the main characters now.
Also, their powers like I feel like their powers are so 90s too, where she shoots ferrosteel tipped quills, and he's like, I shoot scattershot photon bursts. I'm like, whatever,
Yeah.
man.
It's basically fire, and she just claws people.
yeah.
They do this thing like they have Wolverine show up and they keep saying like Wolverine, adamantium claws, healing factor, and then they're like that's it too, blue blood, granium, cryomium, steel armor, and I'm like that is not nearly as efficient as a scripter.
Servo-assisted combat chases rot from cold smell Molly Dim Dum.
With fusion-powered motivators, multiple cerebrae input, whiskered titanium
And
armor.
look how cool he looks. He's big. He's got his legs spread. His legs are massive.
To be cool, you have to spread your
His
legs.
arm that transforms into things is like, what is this turning into? Like a car?
He does look pretty cool.
Yeah.
Why would it be turning into a car?
Because it's so big. He's so big.
He does. I do think he looks pretty cool.
I think even as a kid I always thought this. I wish his body was busier because his head is so like detailed. His body is just a blue like janitor.
I kind of like that he's just like this naked blue man with just because it focuses you more on like how kind of unique his head looks.
I like that he's a naked blue man.
Yeah, I will say, we were saying how much TNA there is. The guys are also just like those pulpy, like when you see like those old fantasy ones where they're just like big. Everyone is like Darryl said, they all have the same.
There are a lot of
physique.
cod
build,
pieces too.
They're just all big muscle dudes with Leia with cod.
Like it's
pieces.
like no one in this era didn't go to the gym.
No, it's more than they go to the gym. They're like on steroids and they're in bodybuilding competitions.
Yeah,
they're like
yeah.
Arnold Schwarzenegger when he's a bodybuilder.
Yeah, it's not that they're just fit. They're muscular.
I just want to point this great dialogue. Death's Head 2 bunches out the green giant storm, and this girl goes like, "No!" And Death's Head goes like, "Yes!" And that's
Yeah, and then it cuts away because he kills her, and they can't show that because he's so radical.
He doesn't kill her, does he? Oh, I guess he does.
And the X-Men are like, that must be clearly the bad guy. Obviously, we have to attack him without discerning the situation first.
I mean, they did just watch him murder a bunch of people.
I know, but they're like, we're gonna kill. Like they try to kill Death's Head 2 without even ascertaining.
No, they don't. They say we have to do it minimal force to prevent him from
No,
continuing
but like
the fight.
eventually they're just
That's
like,
Cyclops. Yeah. Well, it's because he's so powerful. You can't just keep going minimal force against something that's this scary.
Yeah.
You don't go minimal force against Apocalypse.
One thing I do want to say that I really like about this issue that I appreciated is the X-Men throughout the whole time, you do get to see a lot of like their roles. Like Cyclops is like the general calling all the shots, and it's not just like it's not just like one at a
I find
time.
it funny you
Yeah.
say that because you're a Jubilee fan, and Jubilee's role is literally just to do nothing. Like, they
Yeah.
don't say, like, go away.
Hey,
Unfortunately.
she sets up a big firework distraction later.
That's the one
They
thing.
do fight as a team, and like that's why before when I said it's more of an X-Men comic than Death's Head, it kind of is.
It works better if you view it as X-Men comic than X-Men
It just
comic.
it feels to me like Dan Abnett like took the time to learn these characters that he's writing, and it's not just fodder for Death's Head.
I
to
was
fight.
surprised reading it that it's like, oh, there is like a team camaraderie thing, and there's almost like a feel, because later on, of course, Deathhead's going to join up with the X-Men, and he's kind of just like ornery, and no one likes him, and I kind of like that aspect too, because it shows like how nice they are with each other, but then they're like, Deathhead, this guy's just like a jerk, and he is a jerk.
I think they just view that just so he could be edgelord and like start rivalry with Wolverine.
Well, yeah, that too. I mean, it's both like the same thing. It's
I'm too cool. Like the whole thing is like I'm too cool for the X-Men. Like, you think the X-Men are cool? Check out Deathstroke 2. Stop making shitty X-Men comics.
Yeah, and the only X-Men they really spend time on is Wolverine because he's also really cool.
And also, for what it's worth, Wolverine did fight Deathhead 2 earlier, so they have like in the first miniseries, so they have a little bit of history.
I have a issue literally an issue of fucking history, but so when we say we have good comics, I don't agree with that statement at all because like immediately they split off and Psylocke, Beast, and Jubilee spend the fight. Trying to enter the bathroom. Like, that's their mission, to enter the bathroom.
Listen, I didn't say it was good, but they're not just fodder characters.
They're trying to enter the bathroom because that's where Tuck and the Sapphire Lotus are. They're not trying to get to the bathroom.
Yeah, but that's right, though. They need 2 people just to get the fucking bathroom. Like,
well, there's an energy shield over the
yeah.
door.
That's what, like, Psylocke points out. Oh, there's an energy shield. They have to try and find a way to penetrate the cloak.
They split off, like they could have just taken out Deathhead and gone after the fucking Lotus, but they have to, like, what's Jubilee gonna do in this fucking...
That's why she's the one trying to get in the bathroom, because she can't fight anybody. She's got little firework powers.
So she's trying to, as they're trying to
Why
get
is Jubilee here? Oh, that's a better question.
in the bathroom is Wrathchild, that guy that's like a big dork. But now he's really buff. He's holding the Sapphire Lotus, and now he's 1,000 times the man he was when he stumbled past the Paxton city limits.
Wrathchild's literally fucking Charno rehash, like a god tier fucking entity that like even Deathhead 2 can't fight. They have to find some bullshit way to defeat him.
Yeah, he literally in this issue was like, I know how it feels to be a god.
Which was what blew my mind reading this, because I was like, wow, Dan Abnett like ran out of ideas like immediately after the miniseries. Like he's already done. Like he's done already.
Or like ideas for like this. I like that Deathhead, he's so strong he can only fight gods.
He can't though. He can't. It's just finds a bullshit way to beat them. He doesn't actually fight them ever.
He fights them. He'll find a way to beat them. So they open up the bathroom. It's a transdimensional gate. You get all these crazy colors like giant crystals, floating orbs, bones of creatures you've never seen.
This is when I was like, I don't really understand what's going on.
It's like a portal to hell.
And this is when I was like, man, I really love Liam Sharp's art on here, which is why I was surprised to see Sly. Like maybe
I think it's messy. I think it's way messier. I think his art in the first one had more personality to it. This feels more like he's trying to be too much like Jim Lee.
I can see that.
Okay.
And it's not bad. It's definitely quality. Like, there's definitely quality work. But there's panels. There are panels that look amazing. But there's like one panel like when they finally join up the X-Men. I feel it looks very much like a poor man's Jim Lee. And there's panels that look like a better man's Jim Lee. Like,
I wonder if that was an editorial push that if you have the X-Men show up, you have to look like Jim Lee.
Maybe.
So the X-Men are all just fighting Deathhead. He's just like punching Gambit away. And then Rogue tries to sap his powers, but she absorbs all the voices in his head and she passes out because it's too much for her.
Huh, are you swooning? I didn't think girls swooned anymore.
And then Wolverine and Cyclops are blasting him. He just doesn't give a shit. He's just punching him. And that's how the episode ends.
Yeah, it's true.
Very good.
So dumb.
Oh yeah, and Beast and Jubilee show up and they're like,
and Beast sees this and he says, "Move it, people. My guess is they need our help, if only to get them to a hospital afterwards, because Deathhead's too powerful." Also,
there's another thing in Jubilee's dialogue where they have her speak in always lowercase language. I thought it was just like emphasize like she's whispering or something, but no, it's just her fucking. She's like Deadpool. She has her own fucking word bubble.
I always like more like unique typefaces or fonts being used for certain characters.
I do, but I like it. Why like she?
Why her?
Why her? Like my
why her, not Deathhead?
Because she's like the junior X-Men person. She's little. She's a lowercase X-Man.
But if you know Jubilee, you know Jubilee's a fucking like she has a mouth on her. She's not fucking mousy at all in the comics. Like,
absolutely.
It makes no
Maybe
sense.
that was their way of being like that. She is like a teenager committed, whatever. Anyway, the next episode opens with, "Got your popcorn? Your ringside seat? Good. Wolverine Deathhead, the fight of the year. The one everyone wants to see."
And the cover is Wolverine with his claws out, like a huge close-up of Deathhead 2's face right next to him. It says snicked, and Deathhead 2 said, "You said it, bub."
Yeah, and so they just start bashing each other a whole bunch. Wolverine cuts off.
This last issue was called Extinction Agenda. This is called Excuses, by the way.
Of course, always written X-Cuses.
Yeah.
X-Cuses.
Wolverine cuts off Deathhead's the arm that he can transform with. And so then he throws Wolverine, and they're just really just quipping to each other.
It's so quippy.
If you're hoping I'll continue this macho posturing a while, you'll be disappointed.
Sorry to clarify, it was like last issue was extreme prejudice because X-Men are so extremely prejudiced against Deathshead. There's so much going on in this fucking story about the X-Men victims of prejudice themselves going after Deathshead.
And then as Deathshead is like, you and your friends attacked me, Wolverine, end of story, and his just cut off metal arm turns into a big gun, and he says, end of you.
Yeah. And Wolverine's like, fancy gun, fancy but slow. You'll have to be quicker than that. And Deathshead's like, clearly.
Deathshead knows Wolverine's a good guy. He's just gonna kill him.
And then I love the narration on this page says, what do you mean, what's going on? Where were you? Like, even Abnett knows. It's like, okay, I gotta recap it. He's like, Rogue passed out. All the mutants have been gathering here after the Sapphire Lotus. Rogue wakes up and she sees Wolverine getting impaled with Deathhead's transformation arm. And I loved this page so much as a kid.
She says stop here, and then, but then she was like for like 5 more pages. If I go on for like 5 more pages before she actually stops the fight.
Well, it's because they can't... she has to calm her allies down. Beast is like bopping him, and then
No, but
Psylocke...
what happens? The panel procession is so weird because she's running towards them and she goes, stop. Wolverine gets blasted, but he's still standing. And then in the next panel, she just stood where she is and she's crying in the background. And then Beast shows up and he's like, a comedian. You and I may have to quip each other to death. And that's just the worst scenario, I think.
Yep, and he says, I'll pass. Mom told me not to mock the afflicted, though that hair problem sure is mockable.
And then Psylocke shows up, mockable, and the distraction, because everybody just quips. And
Here's what I don't
Psylocke...
fucking get. So he gets up immediately after and says, Psionic Blade, try toothpicks, it might hurt more.
Yeah.
Like, why would he collapse in agony? Like,
It's because he has to be the tough guy. It's like when you
he's
get
just,
like a
he's
huge
talking
cut.
shit.
Yeah, where he's like, oh, that didn't hurt at all.
No, but like I feel like Dan Abnett like forgot what he wrote, and no, he's like he's so cool now. He can withstand Psylocke's.
Yeah. So at this point, this is when Rogue stops the fight, and she's like, I saw into his mind when I absorbed all his personalities. I know he's not the aggressor here. He's a good guy.
I also know we can't even beat him because he's too OP for us.
Yeah, that's why, like I said, she says this, we might not win the fight against him. I'm like, yes.
They do this so many fucking times, and it always makes me fucking laugh because I'm like, thank God, like. Death says turn evil because like Apocalypse, Magneto, the Dark Phoenix. Well, Deathshead goes rogue. Wow, we're fucking species because even the X-Men, the Phoenix of Apocalypse can't stop him. Thank fucking God.
Yeah. Now you're understanding why I like Deathshead.
He's like the Palkia of comics.
Yeah, Palkia is one of my favorite Pokemon because he's so strong.
Oh my God, I hate you, Darryl.
So the X-Men talk to him, and they're just getting to know each other.
This is my favorite. This is my favorite fucking panel. First of all, it's one panel I bitched about where it feels kind of like this panel feels very amateur. Like I don't know how to describe it. Like everyone feels posed very plainly compared to other panels. Like there's no
They're
energy.
not fighting. It's the only panel they're not fighting in the whole book.
I guess that's why it stands out so weirdly to me. Like, but the thing that makes me laugh is they fucked up Beast and Wolverine. So Wolverine, so Beast now has Wolverine hair more than Beast hair, and Wolverine now says fascinating as Deathshead is talking.
Yeah, as he's like looking kind of like giving him a side eye.
I just find later on they do it more simple. I just find it funny to see. Imagine Wolverine like.
Oh yeah,
saying
fascinating.
Yeah.
So we then cut to Chicago, where Tuck and Wrathchild are there. They have the Lotus, or they're hunting the Lotus?
Yeah, no,
they
they
have it,
have the
yeah.
Lotus.
They have
They
it.
teleported from the bathroom into Wrathchild's, like, the house where he was the guy he was before.
Oh yeah, then we get the exposition that he was like this old nerd,
Yeah.
and nobody liked him, and girls never talked to him, and now he has the supreme powers of a god. So that's why he's like, I'm gonna get Tuck as my sidekick.
Yeah, I'm gonna get laid finally.
Yeah, this one page is all his character is. That's it. We're done. So
Now, you beauteous creature, is there anything I can get you? Iced tea, soda, the universe on a slowly turning
Yeah,
spin.
it's so much pomp. All that matters is what I am now. To man, Superman. To God, Super God.
And he takes the picture of him as like this old nerdy professor getting his PhD, and he like melts it and molds it so that it's a little statue of his super
him.
badass 90s costume.
Yeah.
So they have a panel. They have a page of the X-Jet heading towards Chicago to find Wrathchild's location. And there's a panel I found funny. they're talking about the mission, but then they have a cutaway to a Gambit and Wolverine talking, and their conversation is about like, oh, what about Death Set 2? And Gambit's like, oh, I hope I'm not in between the next fight between you guys. And it reminded me of like that in Simpsons when the Poochie episode where Homer suggested every time Poochie's off panel, you should have everybody talk about Poochie, because like the X-Men can't even have a conversation about talking about how badass Death Set 2 is.
Yeah. Well, it's more that to defend this comic, Wolverine's saying that Deathhead sure has a way of getting on with people, as in like he's really annoying him.
I know, but
I think it's
just to set up this bullshit rivalry that Deathhead is Wolverine's like equal as a character.
Yeah.
That's what this comic tries to do so bad, is it tries to be like both Wolverine and Deathhead like hate each other, when it's like they kind of like why would they hate each other?
Well, because they're both these like tough
edgelords
guys.
Well, Wolverine forgot about Deathhead like as soon as he fucking left this comic.
Don't say that. So they go over Chicago. In Chicago, there's a whole bunch of like mist, kinda. It's hard to tell what it is. It's a lot of different colors.
I assume they blew up the city. I don't know.
Oh, I thought they were just saying Chicago was dirty.
So I talk about the art not being that great because it's like drawn like it could be a photocopy. So it's not clear whether it's mist. For me, I thought it was explosion.
I could see that.
See, because I thought it was like all magical stuff. I just assumed there was like magic down there.
I thought it was on fire or something.
Because all they say is, looks like it's a hot time in the old town tonight.
Yeah,
It looks like it's on fucking fire.
Yeah, it does look on fire. Like,
But it's magic. It's like pink and orange and
I
brown,
know, but
like watercolor.
But remember, they went to fucking hell in last issue. Rothschild. And
Yeah,
like
that's
they
true.
could have just brought hell here. Like we don't know, and the art's not really clear.
Meanwhile, Kite is walking from Oregon to Chicago, and he's just standing in like the desert, just walking with his sword arm.
He's next to the road. He's not just in the desert.
And a car drives past with who's
The hot
this, like-
boyfriend and girlfriend.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
boyfriend,
I thought they were
girlfriend.
dead.
And the
they're just
girlfriend's like,
"Fuck you, Kite, you suck."
yeah,
Yeah.
out of the way, groundhog. See you in Chicago, loser.
And then while this is happening, this is set up like these issues because now the Dr. Necker from the miniseries is here, and she's like, Kite's an interesting character. He's definitely an interesting character. Readers, pay attention to him. He's a great character. I'm following him as this story's going on.
Yeah. And then Deathhead drops into the Chicago apartment, and Cyclops is like, oh, we were supposed to work together. And then Wolverine also jumps down. And then Rothschild's sitting there, and he's got like a glowy hand.
He's not sitting there; he's hovering in the
Oh,
air.
yeah, he's hovering.
and
And saying, I've been expecting
okay,
you.
guys.
I am Rothschild, I am Armageddon. He blasts him, then Wolverine stabs Rothschild in the chest, but it doesn't matter. There's Hot Tuck. Now she has like seraphim wings like above her head, like
Yeah,
just
and-
4 wings.
More importantly, now she's wearing like it looks like a swimsuit with like the entire center cut out, like she cut out the entire center, so it's like a piece of fabric barely covering her breast and her vagina, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very bad.
But she's got a whole like gauntlet, like a shoulder piece for her arm and for one leg. And then she punches Death's head, and she's like, I'm like Tuck no longer, I'm the force by which you and your friend will perish. And then she starts choking Wolverine. And then when the X-Men jump down to try and help them out, they come face to face with giant green like troll ogres
Who
with
is this,
like
Piccolo?
They call Hulk in armor. They look like Hulk in armor with
Yeah.
That's it. That's why they are.
and
they're
they
li-
also have these weird arms too. Like
They're the
that side.
Raptors.
Yeah, and they're like the creators have the security secured. You stay still, or we will exterminate you. And Dev says like, "Oh no," and to be continued.
he doesn't say oh no, he says ah no, because he can't be like I'm afraid. He's always got to be sarcastic.
Yeah, he's annoyed. Time for an external intervention.
So yeah, this wasn't even fucking.
That's not even a thing.
It's because the Raptors are
The
intervening.
cover is not as
Yeah,
fun
yeah.
as the other ones. This is just Dead Set 2 beating up those green
Not
guys.
as fun. He's punching 2 people at once.
That's
He's
true.
uppercutting one guy and slapping the other guy across the face.
This is a shitty cover because like X-Men was like the hottest shit this time, and why would you not advertise the X-Men on your
It
cover?
says guest
Like,
starring X-Men.
Like, you would fucking miss that. Like if you're not paying attention. Like if you're scanning an aisle, you'd just be like, "Oh, fucking robot fighting
But
green guys."
it's worth it because you get one of the raptor arms, which is like almost half the page because it's so massive and big.
My favorite is, and I know that like every cover has this, but there's something about the Death's Head TM that makes me really laugh. Like, who's gonna fucking steal this IP?
They did have every fucking.
I know,
every
but like,
fucking cover.
especially with Death's Head, I think he's safe.
So it opens
Yeah.
with Tuck choking Wolverine.
I want to say his narration.
Yeah.
They say Wolverine's the best he is at what he does, and what he's doing right now is getting choked to death. No, he's the best at being choked to death. No one can be choked to death better than Wolverine.
I mean, he does have the healing factor. He probably is the best at getting choked.
And then Wrathchild and Tuck kind of starts slipping out of it, and then so she stops killing Wolverine. And then there's like raptors that come after them, and Wolverine has his healing factor, so he heals his broken.
This really
trachea.
is, like Sly said, this is all just a big fight scene. Like it never ends. I'm trying to think like what's the next event. And I'm like, it just
This issue in particular is extremely fillery because those raptor guys, they just teleport in, and all they do is just fight everyone this entire like issue.
That's another reason why the miniseries is so much better, because the miniseries at least had time to breathe. This comic gives you no fucking time to breathe.
No,
ever.
but this is what I like.
I
is you
think
get like, all
I'm
these.
on Darryl's side. I think this is what I like about it, because when you have time to breathe, you think, "Wow, I'm reading a really dumb thing." This, I'm just like, "Yeah."
Well, it's hard because it is still like dumb. Like you're reading it and you're like, the whole time it doesn't explain who any of these guys are. This whole issue, so there's just an army of Green Hulk men with like long hair that come and fight everyone, and you're like, all right, sure, like this is a thing now.
They all have big Death's Head arms.
I guess I know because I know the first series is better. I know Andy Lanning, Rogue Guardians of the Galaxies. I know he could have made Death's Head 2 an actually good comic, and you wouldn't feel like an idiot liking this when you were a kid. But no, you have to make
Makes
it
me
as
wonder
possible.
when it like came back for like volume 2 if he was explicitly supposed to like if he was supposed to do more violence and gore and stuff because
I have a feeling he was trying to like he was supposed to play up the '90s stuff.
Yeah.
Because I can't imagine that he would be like
this really reeks of it because as Death's Head's fighting these guys, it's actually showing their blood because they're not like technically living creatures, so you don't have to feel bad for them dying.
He
They're like
smashes their fucking heads in, and
it's like it's a
There's
lot of blood.
Then they say right after, I tried to psionically probe them, but they're not alive. So feel free to slice them into pieces.
Yeah.
But they look really human. They bleed. So
Yeah.
I'm wondering. I think they are alive.
Yeah. Also, Wolverine and Death's Head murdered them like super hard. But then more comes, so like we gotta run. Like we bitched these guys out.
It's that they regenerate.
Right. So even though they get bashed,
But like, it's not
okay.
like
It takes
Death's
them a
Head
few minutes,
barely
though.
wins. Like, I feel like they could keep going.
Yeah, these guys aren't really that strong.
Well, it's because what they say is they came in expecting human level technology and fighting, and so when they started to see lasers and stuff, they're like, "This isn't what we expected in this timeline." And then they're like, "We have to start upgrading our skills." And so as the X-Men and Death's Head escalate the violence, the Raptors are like, "Oh, these guys aren't regular humans. We need to be stronger."
Oh, and this is, I misspoke before when I said Wolverine and Death's Head knew each other. This is where they exposit as they're retreating that the Wolverine from the last miniseries was an alternate future Wolverine. So Death's Head knows Wolverine, but Wolverine doesn't know Death's Head. I forgot.
And
Yes.
he explains to him in that alternate future that they fought an enemy far more powerful than these raptors. And Death's Head says, "We won. You died. Satisfied." So that they start running away because apparently the X-Men were split up, which again, this is like a failing of the comic where you're like, are the X-Men in that building or not? Because there's like barely any backgrounds, all like magical, like
It was a
weird
panel to establish that
fire.
Wolverine and Death's Head ran ahead. Like I assumed they were right behind them. Like it made it seem like they were right on the spot and they just jumped out the plane.
Yeah, but then you see Death's Head and Wolverine jumping across rooftops while the Raptors are running around. You're like, where the hell is Cyclops and Jubilee and the rest?
So then when we see them, they're fighting like a female version of the Raptor that's just like more naked and super busty.
Yeah, impossible proportions on her body.
And we get a page that's just really spotlighting all of Psylocke's butt and side boob in her like ninja costume, and it's just like extremely egregious.
So here's a bit of color to the characters. This is a good sign of what you guys were talking about with the X-Men. Psylocke is telepathically connecting all the X-Men, and we gotta get prepared to strike. So Psylocke's coordinating a plan, and he tells everyone besides Jubilee, and Jubilee's just like whistling to herself while everyone's coordinating a plan. I thought that was really funny.
Yeah, you see everyone talking, and her is just music bubble over her head.
Yeah. And then when the fight starts, she just starts punching in the air like. What? Why doesn't she use her fucking fireworks in this fucking comic ever?
She will eventually, in a context I don't
I don't
remember.
know. Maybe it would be two main colors.
It's already impossible to see what's going on. Like in any of these fights, I'm like, it's just like vomiting like neon '90s colors everywhere. Like these bright pinks and greens and like.
And next panel is Rogue fighting one of the Raptors, and I just noticed like when they draw like Rogue. They draw her ass like if she was naked, and then like draw her like
They just color
She
it.
has-
Custom over it.
Like it's like, you know, boob sock, that thing where you see each individual boob.
Oh,
It's like
yeah.
It's like ass cheek
Yes.
sock. Like,
Yeah, because you get to see from the
Well,
start. Yeah, down.
I mean, they're wearing like tight spandex all the time.
No, but this is like a hard black line. It's not like shaded in, so you get to
Yeah.
see one
Oh,
cheek
yeah.
versus another.
And what?
Yeah.
There's so much here.
I was assuming it's like the movies where it's still like a visible cloth over them, but here no, they're wearing like spandex.
Yeah.
Ryan, do you like that Rogue is fighting this guy that just has dreadlocks, and that's how he fights? Is he sends out his dreadlocks like sentient hair, like
And
Medusa?
there's like
Why would I
tentacle
like-
hair.
Yeah, it becomes tentacle porn.
I don't
Why
know.
would I like or not like that? I don't have. I'm neutral.
I don't know. Maybe you're the kind of guy that likes that.
He's asking Ryan if you have a tentacle porn fetish.
I don't
No,
think so.
not tentacle. Just like hair control.
No, it's a
and stuff.
tentacle porn. Like Warg is swung by the guy's tentacle.
Yeah, no, those dreadlocks are straight up tentacles. They're more like big worms. They're like segmented and everything.
Yeah, they are really wormy.
So yes, to answer your question, yes, I like it very much.
Okay, Deathhead and Wolverine show up, and Deathhead's like, "What do you say, Logan? As these Raptors learn about us, they adapt their defenses and offenses accordingly. What do you say we put our Raptor combat experience to the test?" That's actually not a good quip. Don't mind that one.
And so then they finally reach Tuck. And
Oh, we did get a scene cut in between this big fight of Tuck in her really weird bathing suit kicking a raptor in the throat while his face exploded out blood.
He's vomiting blood.
It looks pretty exploded to me, but yeah, she's holding her own until they find her and she's just hung up on a tree, dangling by her bathing
Well,
suit.
she got shot in one scene, and then like they presumably the Raptors captured Wrathchild and the Sapphire Lotus, and they just left Tuck to die. I don't know who put her on this tree.
Yeah, so it looks like she's hung up on this tree.
Yeah, that must be giving her a massive wedgie.
It's supposed to looking like an emotional scene because that's like holding her arms.
Yeah, looking sad.
Looks hilarious because like she's drawn like straight, like look at my tits at the camera while he's holding her up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
instead of like him holding her so that she's facing him, he's holding her towards the
camera.
viewers.
He's like holding
So
towards
her
the camera.
body's like perpendicular so that you could see everything. It's such a bizarre shot.
And this is like kind of like this is why I mentioned like sometimes like I feel like Liam Sharp's art doesn't hold up as much as the first.
It looks like this Tuck wasn't everlasting.
And I find it funny because it's supposed to be an emotional moment because like Sokka was like we have to get ready and Woodup's like shut up, Tuck is my friend. Huh? And
Yeah,
I'm like,
not Tuck.
Who could conceivably give a fuck about Tuck? Like, I like Dempsey at this time when I read this, and I did not give a shit about the
Yeah.
character.
Who gives a fuck about Tuck? Tuck Everlasting? More like fuck Everlasting.
And then we cut to Kite walking through the fucking icy
It's
mountains.
the same scene. He's walking. Neckar's interested in him. It's the same scene.
No, but I love because the page ends with Necker saying, "We wait once more, but not for much longer." It's them being like, "Don't worry, this will pay off soon. Don't worry about it." Also, there's a robot with just like huge boobs next to Necker. Why would you put boobs on a robot?
I don't know.
I think that's armor.
No, they're suits, right?
Yeah, there's a sushi
No,
bar
I'm
which
pretty
is-
sure. Think about it. She just like designs robots all the time.
I know, but she also wears suits like that. But I think you're right because it has like antennas on it, so I think that is a robot.
Follow-up question.
I would put boobs on a robot.
Follow-up question. Does it fucking matter at all?
No, it
Yeah.
doesn't. So
Follow-up question. The robots that we made as humans so far, how many of them have had boobs?
Probably most of them.
Probably most of them.
so anyway,
That's the first thing we've as humanity. The first thing we've done is make fuckable robots. Like that's the first thing we've done. Like we can't say that's crazy.
I've opened Pandora's box.
You think first you think the robots aren't gonna kill us. Now you think we're not gonna fuck robots. I mean, come on.
No, but like, unless you designed the robot specifically for sex, why would you put boobs on?
So
the
just in
robot?
case, like if she can't sell these robots,
Just
at
in
least get-
case.
like if you make a robot and no one wants to buy for
Also,
killing, you just sell for fucking.
You want it to look human-ish so you can like hang out with it.
Yeah, you can hang out with it. I know what you mean.
But can't you give it a chest, not just like two individual like breasts?
Whatever.
Oh, it's weird.
Shut up, Darryl.
Anyway, Deathhead and the rest of the X-Men crew just teleport for some reason, and they're gone. So this issue was like completely pointless because all it did is just reunite the X-Men. I guess.
well, Tuck got hurt.
Yeah, Tuck got hurt and Wrathchild got captured, which could have happened at the end of issue 2. But that doesn't matter because now we're at the premiere, the final of this arc, issue 4. Its cover is a whole bunch of nonsense.
Yeah. So it's called Rap Shot Triumphant like question mark on the cover. First of all, they say the final chapter of Lotus FX. What the fuck does that mean, Lotus FX?
This
Lotus
is what the series was called, the 4 issues.
But with Lotus special effects.
I
Like,
don't
what the fuck
know.
does
But
FX mean?
this issue is also called Exterminations.
So this cover is exactly like the final cover to issue 4 of the first series because all the characters fighting double page and Charm, and now Rapture just looks like Charnel now. Like it is
The
same
best
shit.
part is Cyclops doesn't have any of the like yellow straps that he usually has on his costume. He's just got the blue Death's Head body, and he's shooting an optic blast into the back of a raptor and flexing for some reason.
It's because you gotta see his sweet ass bicep.
They're all so buff.
Anyway, it starts with Death's Head being teleported into this cold reality bubble.
Oh wait, I'm sorry to interrupt. I just want to say also on this cover, Jubilee is actually using her fireworks to kill a raptor. So, she's important now.
Can her fireworks do that?
Sure. In Death's Head too, land again.
They're pyroconnect. Are they pyroconnected? Yeah, they're pyrokinetics.
Yeah.
Okay.
She doesn't usually use them to kill aliens, though.
Yeah, I didn't know if she only did like light based.
Yeah, I thought they were
No,
lights.
Dazzler is light base only.
Yeah.
I thought Jubilee and Dazzler were the same fucking.
Okay, if you think that's weird, there's also a character called Boom Boom that's called Boom Boom. That's the exact same power as Jubilee. They're literally in 1 year they created 3 Jubilees. I'm not fucking kidding.
All you're doing is you're bringing X-Men down to Death's Head level at this rate.
Boom Boom rules, so does Jubilee, and so does Dazzler. They're all great characters.
Yeah, that's the funny thing. Like they're all
So does Death's Head, all right?
That's the funny thing.
Yeah.
Like X-Men is so good. Like it took like 3 characters as the same fucking thing, and they're all separately interesting. But it's just funny when you describe it.
Anyway,
So now we meet this new fucking character. Jesus Christ.
no, she's not new. She was in Death's Head 1, if you guys remember.
I don't.
Yeah, so this pissed me off too because she was actually I liked in this one they just had random world building where Death said teleport to his mission and save this pink alien.
From a guy, because he had to get
yeah.
the knowledge of how to use 4 arms from the 4-arm guy that was hassling her, because she has the ability of, like, what was it called? Where you can see the future. Foresight,
Yeah, but so like it was future sight and it was a tease that she's gonna become Death Set 2 and not
Yeah,
just,
she said to him, "We will meet again."
Yeah.
Here's how she looks. She has Medusa hair. She has 3 fingers, and on each arm she's got like a long glove.
Yeah.
And then she also has stockings, and then for her torso
The
and
stockings
thighs,
go up to
she's-
mid-thigh.
Yep.
Yeah, and then she's
But
got
her center is basically like if you had a character walk in the movie, put on duct tape on her boobs and her vagina and say it's my costume. That's exactly what it looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I actually, back in the first issue, she was actually wearing like a torn bikini, and here it's just like straight up like purposely blocking any kind of genitals.
And here's why I mean like why Josh not as good because at least in the first one, she had like her face like looked like had a soft look to her. Here she just looks like fucking Psylocke or anyone else.
yeah.
Like,
Definitely.
this doesn't mean the art's getting worse for me here.
Yeah, so she explains to him that they're inside of this bubble that she created. She had controlled the raptor, and this is like this exposition dump isn't that great either because it like
I didn't get it. I
it
don't
barely
know.
establishes that the only way it establishes that she was the original creators of the raptors is after they appear, and Rogue says, "Raptors, I thought they were Phaedra's heavies."
no.
Phaedra's
She
this
says
lady.
that. She said that before.
She did?
She did. She says, "I'm the creator of this world. You're the creator of Sapphire Lotus. You sent those raptors after us."
Oh, you sent. That's it. You sent those raptors after us.
And the reason why they clarify after is because they need to get straight to the next fight scene. Because there's literally only 2 pages of break. They literally get teleported to the dimension, and there's 2 pages before Raptors catch up to them. Like
Yeah,
that's
there's like all these floating stones, this crazy demon
Also,
tree.
while she's expositing this, the camera keeps spinning around her. So there's one you just see her completely naked ass. Then there's
Yeah.
another one where it's like a side.
Oh yeah, When I said she has duct tape on her vagina, that means her ass is literally she's naked.
Yeah.
This is fucking. She's naked from behind. You can see her little
it's
ass.
so weird, and like the camera is just like spinning around her while she's expositing, so you have like lots of different parts of her to look at every time she's talking about whatever bullshit this is.
Oh yeah, I don't know if you said this. This issue's called exterminations, by the way.
I said that.
I just
Yeah.
Lie.
Okay, yeah. But I just want it's Andy Landing was like, I'm doing the X-Men book. I'm gonna make every fucking.
For what it's worth,
fun.
Dan Abnett wrote it. Andy Lanning inked it. God, Sly.
What? I forget which one's which. Fucking.
So there's some more fighting. Death's Head says to Jubilee, "Look after Tuck," and Cyclops is doing some cool poses on this page.
He's really doing poses.
So, do you guys like that there is no horizontal frames at all for this almost the entire issue until the end?
Yeah, it makes it really annoying to read on a computer.
Yeah, I will say, I'm giving Dan Abnett some fucking X-Men lore credit. I find because the Raptors are like the robots. They when you fight them, they learn how you fight.
Sentinels.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Cyclops is like, we fought Sentinels before. We can basically like fight against these. Just mix up your fights. Like we've done it before, X-Men. It's
Yeah, I told you this is good.
It's nice to see like that stuff rather than just like let's beat these green bastards, because then it's like, oh, this is an actual callback to X-Men.
I do really like that they keep reminding us that they're robots, so that it's okay that they're like bleeding a lot.
Yeah, and like Beast is like clawing through one's face. And he's like, "This is fun, isn't it, Rogue?" And she's like, "I can think of safer ways to pass the time, sugar." And man, there's a lot of fighting, and you get more of Cyclops flexing as he's blasting.
He's really always flexing.
And then they end up teleporting to this cool like floating tower garden place.
They go to Pandora.
It also made me realize the reason why Dev's head is so fucking cosmic, very fucking story arc. It's probably because this is around the time when Jim Starlin was writing like the Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah.
It feels like it's really trying to go for that shit.
Yeah.
So he's like, "Hey, you have to help my friend Tuck. She's addicted to the powers of the Sapphire
They did
Lotus."
mention that last issue too.
Yeah, Psylocke had probed the mind. And then Phaedra gives this giant Lord dump this page. Like, I don't know why you've been parse any of this. In the background are like cosmic entities because like
That's what I'm talking about. This is Jim Starlin's page, but it's happening in a schlock fucking book.
There's like all these. The background is space, and you see all these planets and these giant heads eating the
These
planet.
giant cosmic entities in the background. They have nothing to do with the story.
this girl. So these characters are from the Warhead story, but it's just like
Oh, I was wondering. I'm like, who is that supposed to be Cable or something?
You have to very much have an eye patch. She has a red eye. Woo, great character. 10 out of 10.
yeah. There's a girl that she's wearing a thong and her ammo belt's covering her breast. That's all that she has for a shirt, and she has a thong that says "not!"
Yeah.
exclamation point.
Yeah, Dunk says not on it.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
And they're talking about how she created the Sapphire Lotus just for herself to create a safe universe or safe like microcosm for herself outside of the Omniverse. But then the Chaos and Order were fighting over it, and they got stolen.
The UK has to have more lax laws about nudity, right? Because Phaedra's ass is just exposed.
Yeah.
Like, it feels so,
straight
feels so
up,
fucking
Well,
weird.
she's also an alien, so she might not have genitals. Like she might not have a
it's just
butthole.
Oh, so that's the defense. They got past the comics
Yeah, it makes
code 'cause
it
they're like, no,
okay.
she doesn't have a butthole in there.
Like, if I show this panel to anyone, it's a girl like stalking legs, stalking arms. Like, this is
And then
just
butt.
a fucking prostitute naked.
I
Like, that's
started
all it
reading
is.
this book in the library
Hey.
today and was like, nope, never mind. Gonna read it later.
So Phaedra's real sad. Deathhead grabs her by the arms, like, real men do, and is like, we'll help you out. He's doing it so that they can help Tuck, and the X-Men are doing it just because it's like, well, if Wrathchild survives, they could go after their universe, so might as well.
Yeah, because that's just too cool to care about anything. And this is my favorite panel because they fucked up Wolverine and Beast. Oh no, Wolverine now says, "Part of my friends matters, Wrathchild, but I'm afraid that ever since you stole his partner and Sapphire Lotus from him, he's been a bit trigger happy."
No, that's classic Logan. Also, Wrathchild at this point has taken off his cool mask, and he just has like a million really sharp fangs.
No, he hasn't
Yeah,
taken
he's
off.
Charnel now because he has the exact same thing Charnel had, where half his face is something else, half his other face is
Yeah,
something else.
it's
Like,
melted into his face. But I like is whereas Charnel's like more like the chaotic red. This guy's this cool blue and crystal, which is way more my
And he's
vibe.
covered in boils, just like Darryl, and then and he's got all these really sharp fangs, and he's sticking out his tongue while he's talking, and he's biting.
because Venom was bigger on this
He's
time.
biting into his own tongue, which
it's bleeding.
it's
That's
so
pretty
funny
good.
because he's biting into his own tongue and bleeding all over the place while he's expositing. What did that sound like? Like that?
Not in the slightest did you think I would not detect your approach. Ow.
I have to wonder if, like, reading this more, I have to wonder if Andy Lanning wanted to write a good book, and Marvel was like, no, you got to.
You mean Dan Abnett?
I forget which one's which. And then they're like, no, Venom's cool. You gotta have him a fucking tongue.
Yeah.
You gotta have the Venom teeth. You gotta have
That's
that
what I was
fucking
saying. I wonder if Dan Abnett, when they said, he was either talking to them about pitching like a Death's Head Volume 2 or continuing and stuff, and they're like, yeah, do it, but like really make it crazy,
Yeah.
like make it cool. And it's like, so time travel? They're like, no, just do what you did with Charnel, but do that again.
But I think it feels like he's half taking a piss at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt a lot of this was tongue in cheek or teeth in tongue.
Yeah, so anyway, Death's Head and Wolverine get teleported to go fight Charnel because they're the two coolest guys. They're the only ones able to fight him. And then everyone else is just fighting a bunch of raptors
But
because now they obey.
Death's Head and Wolverine get punked out.
What happened? Oh, no, Tuck appears. She's okay. And she's like, no, my beloved, don't crush them. Let me kill them. And he's like, Tuck, I thought you were dead. And she's like, my love for you kept me alive, Ratchild. Do you not remember how you felt even now as you walked as a god? Can you not imagine how the things between us could be? So he's like, yeah, I do want to get laid by you.
This is wonderful. Can this be so? Am I to be content at last? To think what I once was, and now to have such beauty at my command.
And the thing I love is that, like, she's buying time, but she reveals herself before Jubilee can
Oh,
finish
finally,
growing up.
Sly, what we've been building this whole time in the background, little Jubilee finally grabs the Sapphire Lotus and blasts him with...
No, she's like getting ready to charge. She's like charging her laser, like taking her time.
Yeah.
It's like a panel for her
No,
to do
she
it.
saves the day. She's the hero here.
So this Tuck is actually Phaedra, who had cloaked herself as Tuck, which was weird to me because I'm like, when did they see Wrathchild and like, how did they know that he liked Tuck this much that he would take time away to do that?
Yeah, I didn't even get that from the scenes around panel that he was attracted to her. I thought,
Yeah, right? It's like, this is a really risky maneuver to
They
just be like,
know,
I'm just going to try
They
and...
know that the people who bought this book would, like, think about the art of this book. They're just like, oh,
They're
those
horny bastards.
those lame
still.
nerds will definitely just immediately understand.
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's funny. That's why I brought up why they keep making like fucking god tier level enemies, because Divisive is a detriment to the story. Like,
Excuse me?
the only reason like he doesn't do anything to help. Really.
Jubilee's
Like,
the real hero here. We all know.
yeah, like Jubilee, Phaedra, Tuck are more important to this.
I'm sorry, but in RPGs, you have to have a tank absorb the damage.
So you're saying that because it's Jubilee, Phaedra, and Tuck, you're saying this is like a feminist masterpiece. These are like the real heroes, are the women.
Let's not go crazy. So Jubilee uses the Sapphire Lotus. I don't even know how they know to. I guess they talked to Phaedra about this. She blasts her fireworks through the Lotus, which enhances it, which hits him, and then you get a nice
What I
spread.
was trying to allude to earlier is Phaedra reveals herself early just to give Wrathchild enough time to almost ruin the mission.
Yeah.
Like, whatever.
So they blast Wrathchild with all like Sapphire Lotus powers and stuff, and he just keeps getting bigger and bigger. And then you get like this nice cut of like all the X-Men fighting. Psylocke has almost lost all of her clothes as she's fighting. You just get from behind, and she's only got like a thong of her clothes left.
And Rogue, the only character that isn't showing skin, her costume has ripped, so her cleavage is out, of course.
Thank God.
And then so they're blasting him,
We
and
do
then
also get a big shot of Cyclops' nipples, though.
yep.
Thank God.
That's grabs the Sapphire Lotus and shoves it into Wrathchild and get a full page explosion of him. And then everything's okay. But in order for Tuck to be healed, she like put a Sapphire Lotus petal
I
around her
just
neck
want
and
to point out that after Wrathchild explodes, it cuts to like Death's Head waking up, and he's just like on a throne,
He's sitting on Wrathchild's throne.
and Phaedra is just like draped over him.
Also, because it's even the finale is only 2 pages long. It's just to get to the point. Phaedra immediately is like, I gotta go heal Tuck. She'll heal best when she's in her home planet.
Yeah.
And she teleports away without even like running by anyone else. And Divisive 2 is like, what the fuck? Like, her home planet is medieval fucking whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
I have to go find her now. Teleport me to her. So in 2 panels, Tuck gets teleported. Divisive 2 gets teleported.
Oh, but she also says, "Don't be surprised if your reunion is delayed." And he's like, "What do you mean?" So obviously he's going into some other fucking crossover.
yeah.
Or timeline.
Which it ends Death's Head in solo action in our Mystic Wars crossover next issue.
Yeah. And the X-Men go home, and that's the issue. The end.
Wow.
Wow.
So I apologize, listeners, if you had any, if you could follow any of that.
Yeah.
You're better than us. You're better follower than us.
Yeah, it's not good. But I love the art. I love how big these guys are, and like I did a lot of my monster drawings were very similar to like a lot of these guys, and I love the Wrathchild design of like that guy melting. Because remember, I had this was my very first Death's Head, so I didn't have a charnel to compare it to. So this was my original guy of like, this guy's so cool.
It's so funny because I did the exact same thing, but I grew up. I don't get it.
I grew up.
How, Darryl?
What? What's up?
How are you still alive?
That's a good question. I don't know.
I can't. It's not that I don't think you should be able to like this, because
I think you shouldn't be. I don't think you should be allowed to like that.
This is why we can't instate slice communist utopia.
I'll ban Divisive 2 and everyone will be happier for it.
I understand liking this from like a weird like it's stupid but I enjoy it perspective.
Yeah.
But then when you get like you're like this great thing is not that great, and I'm like
Yeah, like you shat on Bunch 2099. Fuck off, Darryl.
Oh man.
And they're pretty stylistically similar, except this one is more of a soupy mess of nothing.
But can you not see that maybe this soupy mess of nothing is my Punisher 2099, and I do like the how crazy everything is.
Yes.
Yeah, but at least I realized Punch 2099 like was trying to go for like a Judge Dredd type of like parody tone. Like this is just, I guess you could say it's a parody
no,
of
I realize this is garbage. I don't recommend this to anyone, unless you're 4, or if you're really horny,
Unless you're Darryl.
and you're not allowed to get pornography.
What do I?
Yeah. Okay. Phaedra is pretty buxom.
I liked her more than Tuck.
Yeah, Patriot. Like I was disappointed. Like they made her like this MacGuffin because I thought her design was interesting, but here's she just fucking look at my ass.
Yeah, she just kind of be here to be like, hey, here's the plot. Also, I mean, I guess she did disguise herself as Tuck. Not a bad comic.
No, it's they salvaged at the end, but because I actually like her, like some of the designs, like Charnel and like.
Rathsheim?
It's very complicated. It's like too complicated to be like a great design.
Yeah.
But it's visually interesting. Like Ryan Sharp is a talented artist, and like too bad like Andy Lanning and Dan Abnett couldn't tell good stories in the '90s because it would have been revolutionary for his time.
Again, it could really just be a thing that they were pushed to really make this as
I
like
think that's
campy and '90s as
probably
possible.
the case.
Because this is
Yeah.
'92, so you're still like forming the '90s aesthetic, right?
Yeah, and when we get to like you read Warheads, but when we get to more Marvel UK, like Marvel UK was trash. Like I find it funny, like Alan Moore wrote for Marvel UK, and he thought Marvel America was like trash. Like fuck you, Alan Moore. Like you gotta say like this is what UK is automatic superior. You can suck my fucking cock.
So okay, in that vein, would you Sly? Would you read more of this Death's Head 2?
Yes, it is so fucking dumb. It is fucking entertaining as shit.
What a twist! I love that at the end. See, he's been shitting on the comic the whole time. He's like, yes,
I've told you guys.
It was so fun to shit on. Like it is so dumb.
I told you guys for like 10 years, Sly's online username was Death's Head 2. You know? There's something to that.
Daryl, would you read more of this?
I remember the last time we did this, when we covered Death's Head 1, I read the entire Death's Head Volume 2 run.
God.
So obviously I would, and I did. Right now, I'd be like, I'd rather read something else. But
You've definitely Death's Head 2 now.
Phil,
I don't know. I've been reading Bleach. God help me.
Phil, what about you?
No, I do not like this. I don't even like it in like it's dumb and I can enjoy it way. It's like it's so dumb that I don't feel like anything's happening ever because it's just when you have constant stuff happening, it's basically like nothing's happening.
I want to clarify. Like I said, Darryl wants to do dumb naughty stuff. Like
Yeah.
I'd rather have something like this where I know the writer can do better than like Rob Liefeld trying his hardest and my writing just unreadable trash. Like it is so bad. Like you can't even read it. Like there's not even TNA to keep you interested.
Yeah.
Like anything.
I'm gonna pull like a Sly and Ryan and say that later in the run, Phil, there is actually more like this is the only thing where the plot's almost nonsensical and you can't follow any of it. It's just all action set pieces and
Are
stuff.
you trying to literally fucking hype up more Death Set 2 though?
Yeah, because he has to go to Lionheart to see Tuck, and he has to deal with their internal politics there. Because
I
if
don't
you
care.
remember that
I don't care.
the general sheriff Nottingham-
Darryl had Death Set 2 had a chance to make impression.
Yeah.
Darryl had 2 chances to make impression too, and he fucked it up by just these comments
I
too.
thought that I was enjoying it as we were going through it, but then when I got to Death's Head 2 will appear next in the Mystech Wars crossover, I have never been less interested in something in my entire life. So I'm firmly on Team Phil. No thanks. I don't care about that.
When I was just so glad it was over after.
Don't you guys want to see more time travel shenanigans? That's it. There's more of that stuff where it's like we gotta get to 1993 or whatever.
Oh, man.
Oh wait, that's the present day. That's why he has to get back there.
Oh, God. Damn it. Are we done with this?
Yeah.
I guess we are. He also meets Dr. Necker's mom.
She said it, right?
I'm trying to think of cool things. I'm like, that's the only one.
Daryl.
Oh wait! No. There's a cool thing that happens later on. He has a big arm.
That's always.
I know issue 9 what happens is issue 5 he fights a literally
Wait, don't spoil.
a literally recolored version of himself.
Yeah.
Like, you know, in fighting games when they have a paddle swap version of like main character, that's really what he fights.
Yeah, he's
Dan
red.
Abnett And Andy and I were playing Street Fighter, and they were like, "What if this was Death Set 2, issue 5?" And that's what they did for issue 5. Issue 9, he goes back in time and sees his orders again. So if you like issue 1 of Death Set, the original issue,
Well, issue 9's interesting because he's like, should I stop myself
He
from
doesn't,
killing
guys.
Deathhead
He
1?
doesn't hate this.
Okay, all right.
Although this is how I feel when you talk. About
Yeah,
comic
but-
shit. It's always
But
fucking
then
dumb.
I'm the one talking. I can't listen to other people do what I do. It's infuriating.
Okay.
Man. Okay. So I'm glad that we talked about Death Set 2. I don't know if you are, dear listener, but if you want something maybe a little more focused, you should check out the other shows, the Flying Machine Network. I want to recommend Short, Colorful, and Loud this week. They moved their release date to Thursday, so well, not this week, because they're bi-weekly too, but whatever. That's not important. There are new episodes on Anastasia, and it's the 1997 animated film, and it's great, so everyone should listen to that. Make sure you follow them and subscribe so that when shows change their release date, you can know and still find it. Same thing with us. You should subscribe and review and all that stuff. Also,
Please like and subscribe.
yeah, please like and subscribe. I also want to plug something on the Patreon that if you've been following my music column, 33 and a third under 45 on the Flying Machine blog, I now have a podcast version of episodes that will come out the 15th of every month on the Patreon for only $1 a month. So if you can't commit to the $5 a month level that gets you our bonus episodes, join the Patreon at patreon.com/flyingmachine for $1, and you'll get my fully narrated with all the music I talk about podcast episodes. So you should check that out.
$1 a month for a year is like 3 cups of coffee. So,
For less than the price of your daily coffee, you could listen to me talk about how sad I am all the time. So
You could have said David Bowie.
I drink that better than coffee. It invigorates me. Your tears.
yeah, so you should check all those out. Do we have anything else we have to say? No, right?
No.
No,
Okay.
we're good. Oh, wait. Strap in. That's what we have to say.
Oh yeah, we got some big things coming down the pipeline. So
Yeah, some really, we have the next 6 episodes that we're going to be producing already planned out, and they're all linked together, so get ready.
yeah, we have something.
Shared universe shit.
6?
Yeah.
It's gonna be a lot more.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Yeah, it's gonna be really, really good, and we're really excited. But I don't want to say anything until next time.
No, the one teaser you could go is you could just say Detective Comics.
We will not be talking about a single issue of Detective Comics, but we may be talking about lots of issues from Detective Comics comics, if you know what I mean.
The world's greatest detective.
We'll talk about Detective Story next time.
Detective Chimp will show up. Anyway,
Don't you mean elongated man or whatever?
anyway,
The world's greatest detective.
thank you for listening to Divisive Issues. I've been recording with my whole ass out.
My costume is literally just duct tape on my vagina and boobs.
I've been fuck everlasting.
And I've been biting my tongue off with my shot teeth. Ow.
Stay in continuity.